All right, let's talk about management. Now, I know it can sound like a stuffy corporate buzzword, but it's not. It's really the fundamental human skill of getting people organized to achieve something amazing together. It's how all the great things get built, and we're going to break down exactly how it works. So you have to ask, what does a manager actually do? It seems like a simple question, right? But the answer is way more complex than you'd think. We often just see the title, the boss. But a good manager is so much more. They're the engine that really drives a team forward. I love this definition from Harold Kuhns. He called it the art of getting things done through and with people. The key words there are art and with people. See, it's not about just barking orders. It's a craft, a real skill that's all about helping other people do their absolute best work. Probably the best way to get our heads around this is to think of it like a manager's playbook. Just like in sports, there are core plays that every single manager needs to master, and there are 4 of them: planning, organizing, directing, and controlling. Let's get into each one. So, first up in the playbook is what I call the blueprint. This is all about planning, because before you can build anything, whether it's a product, a team, or a whole company, you've got to have a solid plan. It's the foundation for everything else you're going to do. At its heart, planning is just proactive decision-making. It's about thinking ahead, figuring out what you need to do, when and how. It's literally about building a bridge from where you are right now to where you want to go. And good planning isn't just guesswork. It follows a pretty logical process. You start by setting really clear goals, then you make some smart assumptions about the future, you look at different ways to get there, and you pick the best one. From there, you just build out the smaller plans that bring the whole strategy to life. Okay, so you've got your blueprint. Now you're ready for the second play, the structure. This is all about organizing. This is where you actually assemble your team and your resources, building the framework that's going to make your plan a reality. Organizing is really the logistical heart of management. You're taking all the pieces, the money, the equipment, and most importantly, the people, and you're arranging them in a way that just works. It's about creating these productive relationships, so the team is way more powerful than just a bunch of individuals. And here's something that's absolutely crucial to understand. Every company really has 2 different structures. You've got the formal one, the org chart on the wall, but then there's the informal social network, the friendships and alliances that just happen. A great manager knows how to navigate both. Now, a really common tool for this is something called departmentalization. It sounds technical, but it's simple. It's just grouping work in a way that makes sense. You can create teams based on their function, like marketing, or by the product they work on, or even by the customers they serve. It's a key decision in building a company that runs smoothly. All right, you've got a plan, you've got a structure. Now it's time for play number 3, the engine. This is directing. This is the really active human part of management that gets the plan moving and turns all that potential into actual performance. Directing is where leadership truly comes alive. It's not just about giving orders. It's about guiding, inspiring, and even counseling your team. It's that continuous process of motivating and communicating that fuels the whole journey towards the goal. And a manager's deep down beliefs about people really show up here. There's this classic idea, McGregor's theory X and theory Y. A theory X manager thinks people need to be controlled. But a theory Y manager, they believe people are naturally creative and want to do good work. And whichever path you believe in, well, it changes everything about how you lead. That core belief system totally shapes your leadership style, and there's no single right way to do it. Styles can range from authoritarian, where the leader calls all the shots, to highly participative, or even transformational, where you inspire people with a huge vision. The best leaders, they learn to adapt their style to the situation. All right, on to the final play in our playbook, the compass. This is controlling. Now, I know that word can sound a little harsh, like micromanagement, but it's much better to think of it as a guidance system, right? A way to make sure the team stays on course. See, controlling is really just the essential feedback loop that connects what you're doing back to the original plan. It's all about setting a standard, measuring what's actually happening, and then comparing the two. It's how you know if you're on track or if you need to make some adjustments. And just like planning, this is a systematic process. First, you establish the standard. What does success look like? Then, you measure what's really going on. You compare that performance to the standard, and if there's a gap, you take corrective action. It's a simple but incredibly powerful loop. So, why does this matter so much? because this is what stops a tiny little problem from spiraling into a total disaster. It's the difference between just hoping you'll succeed and actually making sure you do. And it's about course correction, not criticism. That's key. So there you have it. Those are the 4 core plays from the manager's playbook. And when you put them all together, when you master them as a whole, they become this incredibly powerful toolkit for leading, no matter what field you're in. So just to recap the whole cycle, you plan the journey, you organize the team and the resources, you direct the action, and you control your progress to stay on track. It's this continuous loop where each step just flows right into the next, constantly driving things forward. And please remember, these aren't just abstract theories from some dusty old textbook. Nope, these are the real-world practical actions that leaders take every single day to turn a big vision into something real. This is literally how things get done. And that leaves us with a final, pretty critical question for today. As AI and automation start handling more of the planning and controlling tasks, which uniquely human part of management, the inspiring, the guiding, the directing, is going to become the single most important skill for any leader's success? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.